In this video, we're going to create some blended elements to use in your pattern. I'm using Illustrator CS6 in Windows 8. This is similar also in Illustrator CC or Illustrator CS5. As you can tell, I've got a number of elements already set on my artboard. And the blend, we can make blends in a couple of ways. The first option is to use Object, Blend, and the blend menu. You'll notice we have several options. We can make a blend or release it. The only thing highlighted right now, because I have no elements selected, is the blend options dialog box. We'll take a look at that in just a minute. The expand tool, replace the spine, reverse the spine, or reverse front to back. We also can use the blend tool. The blend tool is Command W. And if I double click on that, it'll bring up the blend options dialog box. Right now it's set to specified steps and 3, and the orientation is to align to the page rather than to the path. This is going to be the default right now for anything that I happen to do with the blend tool. The way the blend tool works, first I need to have several elements selected. And when I do that, if I get the blend tool, I can click on anchor points of these elements. And Illustrator will make a blend between the anchor points I have selected. So here I selected the top anchor point, then this anchor point and the center anchor point, and then when we look at this image, go in and look at it, we can see that Illustrator has made the changes between elements in 3 steps each time. I can highlight this, double click the blend option, the blend tool to bring up the blend options box. And then all I have to do is make some changes. If I increase the numbers here and then click preview, the number of steps in the blend goes up. I can change to smooth color. I can also change to specified distance, and in this case I can tell it how close or how far apart I want those steps. So for this first design, I think I like specified steps, and I want to go with about 5 steps. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. We'll zoom back out to the full page. Move on to our next one. This one is 3 lines, and in this case I'm going to use the blend tool again. I'm going to click on the end anchor point of the purple one. We'll zoom in so we can see what we're doing real well. I'm going to zoom into the top anchor point on the purple one, the bottom anchor point on the pink one, and then back up to the top anchor point on the orange one. And notice in this case we were still on specified steps, so Illustrator makes 3 steps between each of these lines. Kind of looks like the letter A. If we double click on the blend tool icon, we get the ability to work in the blend options box. So we can increase the number of steps. Let's move it up to 11 and see how that looks. That's way more interesting. Maybe I want to move it to 15. And in this case, let's orientate that along the path. And I'm going to go ahead and click OK. One of the really interesting things about the blend tool is that I can actually change the path that those blends happen on. In this case, it happens that that pink line is the middle. So as I change this line, this path, this is the path that the blend is happening on. I can curve that line. Get that curve handle right there. We'll curve this one up. We'll curve this one down. And as you can see, you can create some very interesting designs rather quickly. Move over to this next option. Here I just have 2 words, the word start and the word finish. And I can select those both. I'll grab my blend tool, I can choose start and then choose finish, and Illustrator figures out how those curves need to change. Now we're still on specified steps, so we have 1, 2, 3 steps between the 2. Again, I can double click on the blend tool option or blend tool to get the options box. We could choose smooth color, see how that looks. This will be whatever Illustrator's interpretation of smooth color is. We can choose a specified number of steps, or we may want to choose the distance between the two. In this case, it's 6/100ths of an inch, and when we do that, it gives us a lot of text in between. Let's try 1/10 of an inch. That smooths it out a little bit so we can read both the beginning word and the ending word. Now that's all well and good, but sometimes maybe the way you want to use the blend tool is that you have repeated elements in your design and you would like to continue those. So in this case I have a fence plank, a large one, and then a smaller one. And I'm going to choose the blend tool, choosing the top point on each of those. And notice it makes, because we're on specified steps, it makes just a number of other planks in my fence. It's a real quick way to put a fence in. I can go blend to options. This is another way to get a hold of that. And I can change the number of steps. Maybe I want a little bit fewer. Click OK. And perhaps I decide that this is good, but this foreground fence post is a little too dark. I can use my color swatches, change the color. Let's get the wide arrow tool, choose just that one. We'll change that one back to the dark color. And notice when I do that, the shades of the planks in between change as well. Come over and look at the next piece. This is just a little leaf design. And I can select this leaf design and choose the blend tool, choose the top point of the leaf, the top point of the center section, and there I get this very obvious blend. This might be a case where something like smooth color, remember our smooth color option, would be a better choice. Preview that. Oh yeah, much better. So it gives me a nice gradient texture in that leaf very quickly. Well, let's come take a look at this series of shapes. I'm going to use the blend tool for this one because I can specify which part of the shapes I would like to blend together. And then we'll come here again as well. And in this case, I again want the smooth color option. I'm going to double click on the blend tool and choose smooth color. Preview that. Worked okay on part of it, but not all of it. So we're going to go ahead and go Object, Blend, Release, and we'll choose these elements, all three of them. Object, Blend, Blend Options. Now if it doesn't like smooth color, as in this case it doesn't, we can specify the number of steps or the distance. Let's move the number of steps way up. Let's use the blend tool for this. Select these guys. Get rid of that line there. When we released it, the path that the blend was on, or the blend line, became another element in that group as well. So we'll get the blend tool again. The hotkey for the blend tool is the letter W. And we'll blend those together. And we'll double click on our blend tool to get the blend options box. Take a look at what smooth color looks like. That's not what I'm looking for. So in this case I'm going to try maybe specified distance. We can increase that. There we go. No distance in between them. And that's a great way to do that. So let's zoom over here to our last few options. View. Zoom out and see our entire artboard. Choose these two lines. And I want to show you the difference between clicking, for example, on the top anchor points with the blend tool. That gives us nice parallel lines. Or I'm going to undo with Command Z, Control Z, or clicking on the top anchor point in one line and the bottom anchor point in the other. And we're going to go ahead and double click so we can change our options a little bit. And we'll choose smooth color and preview that. Notice in this case it's an X. Makes an X type design. If we do specified steps and we put we'll put 25 in here. Now we get an X sort of design as well. I'm going to hit cancel and we'll undo that blend so that we can see the same thing. We'll go blend, object, blend, release right there. And this time we're going to choose the top anchor points for that blend. Double click to bring up our blend options. Change our specified steps to 25. And here you can see that's a much different blend. So the anchor points that you choose do matter with the blend tool. Last one we're going to use here is this arrow and or set of arrows, and I'm going to get the blend tool and I'm going to choose the points of these arrows to blend between, and that creates a fun little design. Now notice in most cases they're very nice, but this last one got a little wonky, so we'll undo that. We're going to use undo, grab our tool again, and this time I'm going to choose this anchor point and this anchor point, and it's still going to give us a strange little choice. Sometimes the blend tool can be a little tricky. So again, we'll undo. We'll come in here and take a look at what we're doing real good and close. And perhaps this time we need to try blending this anchor point and this anchor point. The blend tool does, fortunately or unfortunately, require a little bit of patience and play. So it's not going to play nice right this second, true to form. Sometimes we have to use trial and error to get it to do what we want, and sometimes maybe what I need to do is go from this tip to this tip instead of from this tip to this tip. Nope, that one's just going to be wonky. So we'll mess with that again some more. But for now we have this nice 3/4 circle with the blend tool. That's how the blend tool works. One other thing I mentioned is that with the blend tool there is a path. If you look in your layers panel, the blends will all show up as a group called a blend. And we'll use this triangular sort of funnel shape design here. And if you open the blend, you'll see a couple of things. You'll see the shapes that are blended together, and then you'll see a path. This path can be edited using any of the editing tools in Illustrator, just like any other path. So in this case, I'm using my wide arrow tool to select the center anchor, and we'll turn that anchor into a curve. We can change the angle of that curve. We can even, using our convert anchor point tools, change the curve altogether. So that is our blend tools lesson. So that will help you to create a blended element for your pattern. If you have any questions, shoot me an email, and we'll see you in the next film.